I do a lot of different things and probably few of them well, though I seem to be best at programming. The life of a husband, parent, house owner, dog owner against my will, renovator, and day job worker leave me little time for my hobbies of writing, composing music, photography, and programming. But every once in a while I try my best to participate in a game jam, which is a challenge where one tries to create a playable game within a short period of time and following a specific theme. This year, Game Dev TV ran their annual game jam over a 10-day period from May 24th to June 3rd. As many jams only run over a weekend, this was a welcome change that could allow me enough time to actually build something while still letting the rest of my life interfere with my hobbies as usual. As a bonus, my friend Jason was also participating, so I had someone to talk to about the jam while we both worked on our own project. This year's theme was Last Stand. That can mean a lot of things to a lot of people, and I think the most common was stand your ground, Alamo-type games where you're facing an onslaught of never-ending enemies and the goal is to survive as long as possible. I like avoiding the obvious interpretation and decided to go with the idea that you're a former billionaire owner of a restaurant chain and you've lost everything except for the storage unit you're living in, along with an old rusty hamburger cart you inherited from your grandfather. With the last of your pocket change used to buy some ingredients, you set out to work your way back up to billionaire one burger at a time. Silly, I know, but as a writer, I do enjoy backstory. I almost never do 3D games because asset creation and animation is way outside my wheelhouse, but after completing most of CodeMonkey's amazing turn-based shooter course, I experimented with characters and animations I grabbed from Adobe's free Mixamo.com repository and felt comfortable enough to work in 3D for a 10-day jam. I decided you would play from the first-person view as the owner of the food cart, and you would cook and assemble food to order as customers decided to buy from you. First, I needed a cart. I watched a wonderful 12-minute YouTube tutorial on how to make a wheel from scratch in Blender and blundered my way through it over 3 hours to produce this beautiful wheel for my cart. I also followed another tutorial to make a trash can in Blender. After spending that much time on just the wheel and trash can, I resolved that the rest of the cart would have to be made of Unity primitives just to save time, which I did while grabbing a few free models to add a propane tank and umbrella to make it look more food carty. Luckily, the actual umbrella material was its own child object, so I could turn it off to make the cart look even more decrepit. I had the cart, so now I needed food. I found a low-poly collection of food assets for free and stole all the hamburger-related ones. It took some futzing with the assets to make them work, and I quickly whipped up a plastic-looking container in Blender to hold individual ingredients and had them falling at level start into the cart. From the cart view, you could put raw burgers onto the grill, then assemble finished products by clicking on them in the order you wanted them to stack. To get a basic level, I just created a large plane with a grass texture and a sidewalk. I now had my rather dystopian park setting and food on my cart, but now I needed some customers. My idea was that customers would be walking down the sidewalk and some would choose to come and buy a burger. After downloading a few character skins along with walking and idling animations from Mixamo, I created a base customer class and came up with a spawner that would randomly spawn a person into the world on either side of the sidewalk, start them walking forward, and disappear them after they reach the end. I added logic to make them turn and avoid other customers or the cart, which involved putting an additional collider ahead of them to detect when they were about to hit something and randomly turn away a bit to try and avoid it, with the goal of realigning to their original direction as they continued. Next step was getting them to randomly decide to queue up at the cart, which turned out to be more complicated than I thought. Initially getting them to line up wasn't too hard, but then I wanted to make them more interesting, and the way to do that was to have their mood change as they waited, initially happy, then bored, then frustrated, with animations to go along. Ultimately, if they waited too long for service, they would leave, in a hilariously dejected fashion, requiring the other people in line to fill the gap and move forward. It took me a very long time to get this right, and once I did, I then had to have the customers move up to the cart to place an order and wave at you if you haven't acknowledged them yet. Once that was in place, I needed to set up the logic to click on a customer to acknowledge and eventually get their order, then be able to provide them with their order from the staging area. Blending animations in Unity is where you use layers and avatar masks so that one animation can be running for, say, the legs, and the other for the upper torso. This is tricky for me as evidenced by this horrific and possibly rude zombie-like attempt by this customer to consume a burger. Eventually I got it working to be good enough. Now I had a service loop where you clicked on a customer to get their order, which wasn't visible yet. You could prepare them anything and give it to them, and they'd take it and walk away while eating it. If you screwed up an order, the only recourse was to toss it in the garbage can and take the loss. This guy was my favorite because I didn't close his mouth properly in the animations. When doing a game jam, a pro tip is to create a title screen early on so that you don't forget and have to try and rush something at the very end. Initially, I created a crappy static title screen graphic for My Last Stand, but when I make games, I like my title screens to be interesting. Here's some examples from past games I've made. So for this game, I created a version of the level without customers and turned the title screen graphic into the business sign on the side of the cart. I then blended between various static and orbiting cameras to pan around the cart as a random burger was assembled from the air and then thrown off the cart in a random direction. I actually love this and can spend a lot of time just watching the intro. Once I had my intro screen done, I finished up getting a basic game loop where a customer shows me their order, I give them something, and they pay me and react based on the order they receive. The more satisfied customers you have, the more likely someone will decide to patronize you. I then added a timer to make each day last only a few minutes, and an interstitial screen back in the storage unit where you use your money to replenish your supplies and to buy upgrades to your cart. The only upgrades I managed to provide was the one that repaired the umbrella, a radio that played music I composed, and that you can check out on SoundCloud, and finally a signboard dancer. All these upgrades increase the likelihood that a customer would choose to get in line. To keep it interesting, after each day a random amount of your inventory would spoil and get thrown out. The game would end when you run out of money and supplies. After the official end time of the game jam, I pushed out one more update to fix a few minor bugs and added the signboard dancer to the title screen just to make it more interesting. Game jams like Game Dev TVs or Ludum Dare have a ranking system where other people try your game and you get a global ranking. It's just for fun and it's just empty internet points. When I participate in game jams, I like to use them as an excuse to force myself to try and learn something new and to try something complex and big. This results in a far less polished game than if I had just a simple idea that I could do in my sleep and spent the time heavily polishing the end result. Thus, I don't rank that well, but it's not about the ranking for me, it's about the learning. That said, I feel I didn't do too bad out of the 1,100 other games, and the comments from the people who reviewed it are overwhelmingly positive, which warms my heart. So that was my entry into the Game Dev TV 2024 Game Jam. If you'd like to play My Last Stand, you can try it out at this URL, which is also linked in the description. If you're an indie gaming fan, be sure to check out some of the amazing top-ranked games that single developers and teams put together over the 10 days. It's all very inspiring. And remember how I said my friend Jason was participating as well? His dinosaur newspaper game, Read All About It, ranked in the top 20 in the categories of fun, story, and theme. He created all the pixel art from scratch and enjoyed it so much that he created a more polished version after the jam called Read All About It, Clever Girl Edition. Amazing job. Links below. Now, you're probably wondering, will I go back and make My Last Stand a complete game with all the bells and whistles? Probably not. I have a bad habit of wanting to do things just to see if I can accomplish some subset of goals, not to create finished products. Heck, in the week after the game jam, I experimented with other types of gameplay and scenes in Unity just to see if I could. They probably won't get too far either. But if you'd like to see me do more, please leave a comment below and like, subscribe, and share. I'm almost at the magical 1,000 subscriber mark, which will bring me closer to earning some of that sweet ad revenue that YouTube makes from you watching this. If you like drawing or animating, please check out my social animation site Drawn, or try out my animation studio suite Vash. If you like good science fiction, check out my time travel novel Holocene, available on Amazon, and free to read if you have a Kindle Unlimited subscription. I want to thank all the wonderful people who support this channel, and I hope to be back with more soon.